Hey, small stackers. That's an excellent question, and I'm happy to go into more detail. So on Substack, this channel, the small stackers, said I've learned that if I wait to understand a thought before writing it, it never gets written. If I wait to understand it, it never gets written. And I said understanding is the work of the editor, analyst, audience part of your brain. Creator mode is about flow, and so often flow is about the wisdom of motion. The wisdom of motion. This is something that I actually talked to like story clients about. I'm a fantasy writer, but I took the first 3 years, 2.5, 3 years of my practice to come up with systems. And I taught myself guitar and I got acting training. And so fiction is actually my third art. It's my third discipline, if you will. And so I came in knowing that I wanted a system, but I also sort of came in knowing from my acting training and from writing a song that the editor and the creator, those are two different people that I am. Those are two different hats, and they never work the same shift or they ruin each other's work. That's what I tell everybody that I coach when they come to me and they want help writing a book or writing a poetry collection or something like that. You have an editor hat, which is the same as the audience hat for a lot of people, and you have a creator hat. That creator hat, when that's on, you are not allowed to edit. And when the editor hat is on, you are not allowed to create. And the reason for this is that the creator can't be criticized. This seems a little bit ridiculous, right? A lot of people are like, what do you mean? Or, they'll click off or something like that. The creator needs to feel safe to go anywhere, to do anything. The important thing when you're in creator mode is that you keep creating things and that you stay attached to the creative wave. And that's what I was trying to get at here. The small stackers said, I can't understand what I'm writing while I'm writing it, or it's not good. Or it never gets written is what they said. For me, I'm like, it's not good. If you're editing as you go along, you start to fall into Silmarillionitis. You start to become George Martin and especially Patrick Rothfuss, who's my favorite writer. Like his process, let him take 30 years to come up with book 3. Because if book 3 is as good as these other books, that's, it's worth it for me, even if I'm dead. But it takes a long time, and it's not how I wanted to work. And the reason is that he writes and then he edits, and then he writes and then he edits, and then he writes and then he edits. He keeps on editing and editing and editing, and then to get into a writer mode, you have to reset. You've got to reattach yourself. When I write a song, if it takes me longer than 15 minutes to write the song, that song is over. That song will never get written because the moment is gone. And here's the real key. Writing is like any art. Writing is about capturing a moment. Capturing a moment. That's what makes it art. If you're not capturing a moment, if you're Van Halen and you're showing me how crisp and fast you play, I don't care. I feel this way about a lot of Stevie Ray Vaughan songs. Not all of them, but like, who's better, Stevie Ray or Hendrix? Yeah, Stevie Ray was crisper than Hendrix. No, I do not care. Because Hendrix was always capturing a moment, and that's what makes his live performances so enthralling, is he is capturing a moment with sound, with guitar, while Stevie Ray Vaughan is showing you how well he can play. And that's not a moment I'm interested in. This idea of like editor hat and creator hat is really important because I'm going to draft the whole series, and then I will edit the whole series. And I think I recently heard the term code switching, context switching. That comes with a cost. If I'm writing a song, yeah, it only takes me 15 minutes, but it'll take me an hour and a half to get into the mindset, into the mode where I can capture the moment quickly. And it helps that I know music theory. But if somebody interrupts me at minute 90, and I'm about to write it, I have to start over a lot of the time because my concentration, my flow is broken. I'm put into editor mode again. I'm put into analyst mode again. So that flow time is sacred because creation is a momentum-based activity. It's It's all about momentum. You have to stay in this weird, in this abstract state of mind, right? I feel very lucky that I learned music before I learned writing, because music is stacking sounds to make you feel something. And writing is the same, but because there are words involved, it's easier to think that it's not abstract, that it's a concrete thing. But there's this line in Shakespeare in Act 3, Scene 1 of Pericles, and Pericles is about to throw his wife overboard because she's sick and they think that she's going to die, and then it's bad luck to have a woman on board of a ship according to the rules of this story world that Shakespeare has created. And Pericles says, "I must cast thee straight into the ooze. I must cast thee straight into the ooze." Those words, they're doing something for me that is abstract. There is a sense to it, but calling the ocean, the storming ocean, an ooze, man, that does something. It gives. I've got goosebumps right now that I would show you if I had a hand free. And that's abstract. That's music. That's stacking sounds to create a feeling in you. I must cast thee straight into the ooze. Once upon a moonful night, there was a girl who was an orc. She had gold slitted eyes and dark green skin. Her black hair, when light touched it, drank it in. And when she turned 11, she began to have true dreams. Those words, the music of those words, they need to make sense, but they also need to do something emotionally. And I'm basically agreeing with you that, like, I don't write in a state of understanding. I write from a state of inspiration and staying attached to the feeling of the moment, to the atmosphere. It's why I write about magic. When I have that moment in chapter 12 where Nala and Bakura touch skin very briefly, and then they have this flash of hot entanglement, where they suddenly, that passage is very strange. When I have the part in chapter 17 where Bakura puts on the mask and the demon possesses his body and he grows wings that never go away after that, and he becomes a fire demon. He becomes a dragon for the first time, and he flies out and he opens his mouth and fire gushes out and destroys the forest around them. That sequence is full of all kinds of words that are not necessary, but that do something for me texturally, that do something for me emotionally, that I don't understand and I don't need to. It's not even that I don't want to, but it's just not the point. I hope that made sense.